Tractate Sanhedrin, page 8. We'll start with page 7b. Today is a lot of Agadita. We start with the subject, who is capable to be judge, who carries not only the physical but also the spiritual, the ethical qualification of being a rabbinic judge in rabbinic court. 6 lines from שורות הרחבות, from the large line of 7b. כי הרב דימי אמר דרש רב נחמן בר כהן. Rav Dimi came, as we said many times, from Israel to Babylon to teach. So he brought a sentence in the book of Proverbs, Mishlei, chapter 29. דרש רב נחמן בר כהן, מה דכתיב מלך במשפט יעמיד ארץ ואיש תרומות יהרסנה? אם דיין דומה למלך שאינו צריך לכלום יעמיד ארץ, ואם דומה לכהן שמחזר בית הקרנות יהרסנה. So in short, the way that Rashi and Maharsha explain to us, it is okay for a judge to ask from time to time to have some type of counseling, to get advice. But if someone is appointed as a rabbinic judge and he is very often rely on other people's advice, counsel, and interpretation, he is not capable to be judged. There's a famous story about the Chafetz Chaim, rabbi of Radin. Someone, just because he was son of a great rabbi, he wanted to continue on. It was a very well-known community. It was a problematic. So they came and asked the Chafetz Chaim. He said, look, when it's come to kin, is a law of inheritance in a sense of heredity. But Meshuach Milchama, there are different categories in the Torah that said no. Only if a person really have the proper capabilities. So today, in a way, we have kind of war because it's a struggle to keep the life of Torah and Mitzvot. So therefore, the person who appointed as rabbinic judge should have, or in those days the general community rabbi, the special qualification which not necessarily come just because he is son of someone. It was unfortunately a case that they appointed one time from the house of the president someone who's not really capable to be a judge, which means comments. In those days they used to have interpreter that used to be intermediary between, because it was a language barrier. So so he bowed down and the judge did not say anything. Patach ואמר, הוי לאמר עץ הקיצה אורי ולאבן דומם הוא יורה הנה הוא תפוס זהב וכסף וכל רוח אין בקרבו. That's a sentence of a book of Habakkuk chapter 2. ועתיד הקדוש ברוך הוא להיפרע במעמדים שנאמר והשם בכלל קודשו הס מפניו כל הארץ. So basically is the idea that those who appointed the wrong judges will be punished because they caused suffering. Is a famous story about the rabbi of a city of Kalish in Eastern Europe. His name is Karo, Rabbi Karo, and he has this like old appearance with a long beard, very special appearance of those old days in Eastern Europe. So by force of circumstance he ran once to Vienna, and while he was praying, the prince of Austria passed by the Jewish community and he decided to stop by the synagogue. Sure enough, he was in the middle of a prayer. He liked this rabbi's appearance and he said, okay, I'm appointing him as the chief rabbi of Austrian community. And when he finished the Amida, people in the community came to him and says, Mazal Tov, you know, the prince appointed you as a new rabbi. And he said, absolutely not. Why is that? The salary and everything. He says, look, it wasn't rabbinic court that appointed me or the community. It's just a non-Jewish prince that appointed me as a rabbi of the community. That cannot be. And he ran away from Austria just because of that. He found a job in one of the small villages, which again shows you the responsibility and the seriousness that the rabbis should take before they take this type of authority. אמר יש לקיש כל המעמיד דיין על הציבור שלנו הגון כאילו נוטה אשרה בישראל, שנאמר שופטים ושוטרים תיתן לך ושמח לך אשרה כל עץ. אמר רבשי במקום שיש תלמידי חכמים כאילו נטוע אצל מזבח, שנאמר אצל מזבח השם אלוקיך. So here Maharsha and Maharal said, look, since God in a way is a part of the rabbinic court, and since the divine providence dwell there, it's a dangerous path. You appointed someone is almost in a sense equivalent to someone who's worship idol, because you're bringing something wrong. You in a way impose upon God to do all kind of things that wasn't necessary if it was the proper judge. So they said, כתיב ולא תעשו איתי אלוהי כסף ולא זהב, אלוהי כסף ולא זהב דלא עבדי עץ שערי המערב אשי, הוא לא אבא בשביל כסף ולא אבא בשביל זהב. So in short, the whole idea of money involved, the Meiri and others said that any type of buying the job is prohibited. It reminded me when I was a rabbi in New Jersey 5 years ago, I'm saying 5, I said 20 some years ago. And it was someone, I'm sure that some people remember that name. He was a well-known fellow that has nothing to do with politics, nothing to do with anything. He bought the job as a governor of New Jersey. And it was, they said in the history of the governor of different states, was the first time that someone spent $42 million, one of the guys from Wall Street, just to appoint it as a governor. But that's obviously is prohibited in being rabbi, judge, or in general rabbinic court. רב כי אב ועתה לבית דין, אמרה חיבירות נפשי לקטן הנפיק, וצבי ביתי לת להו אביד, וריקן לבתי האל, ולוואי שתהה ביאך יציאה. Which means he always prayed that I'll come home the same way as I'm leaving my home without sin, come back because of the responsibility. When you see a large group of people that go and honor him, אמר אם יעלה לשמיים שיאו בגללו כגללו לנצח יאבד. So it means that sometimes is a heavy price tag for all this honor. מר זוטרא חסידא כאבו מקטפלה בשבת דריגלה. So 30 days before the festival, is a mitzvah to discuss the upcoming festival, and that's Gemara we study in Megillah 29b. So the Aruch LaNer elaborates, and he said that because he was so old and it's hard for him, and people in those days used to sit on the floor and the speaker used to stand, so they carry him. So it means even you have a wealth or whatever it is, don't think that that's going to be forever. It can change from one generation to the next. That's basically also the interpretation of the Malbim on that pasuk in Mishlei 27. What does that mean when the sages said in the Pirkei Avot chapter 1, be very deliberate in judgment, which is very cautious, very circumspect before you're making any decisions. So they said in the book of Shmot, chapter 20, verse 23, ולא תעלה במעלות וסמיך לבל המשפטים, which means you don't go up in the altar in the mizbeach, which means don't rush to make impetuous, quick decision when it's come to a verdict, because it can be total misleading or wrong, erroneous decision. אמר רבי אלעזר, מנין הדן שלא יפסל ראשי עם קודש, שנאמר לו לא תעלה במעלות וסמיך לבל המשפטים. So it's a famous story about the Chazon Ish. When he visited Tzafat, they told him about Ridvaz, that once he came to a big lecture and it was packed, and he was not happy with the whole idea of people stand for him in honor, and he climbed over the fence and went from the window just to escape the honor. Also, I heard a story here in America about the great two Gedolim, was the son of Rabbi Kotler, Rabbi Shneur Kotler, and Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky, when they came before a large audience. So Rav Kotler suggested that they should come from the back door so people don't see them, and Rav Kamenetsky insisted that they should see them and see everyone stand up. So he asked him why, and he explained, my wife and I suffer greatly from people who contact me, call me, come over all the times, 24 hours a day, and she's sitting there, and when she sees that all of her effort and suffering have some merit because everybody is standing there, so it's not so much for me, Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky, but for her. So that's eventually he convinced him to do that. It's like the Al-Shich HaKadosh said, Atem nitzavim hayom kulchem, you are standing here today before the Lord. So the idea is all of you here, Ashechem, Shivtechem, Ziknechem, everyone there. Because only in the world to come we know who is really the one who deserves to be up and who is not. It's a famous story about Reb Shlomo Kluger that he wrote in his tzava'ah, in his will, that he wants to be buried among the poor, the indigent, because he said they are the least people who derive joy of this world. There's another story in Yarot Vash, the Rabbi Yonatan Eibishitz, that in his drashot, he explained, what does that mean, Matov U'olech Yaakov, how goodly are you tent, or Jacob, you dwelling places, or Israel. He said that this basically, the idea that the act of humbleness, that people understand that it's not necessarily the way people show their honor and respect, that that's really well deserved and well entitled. Many times people carry a mask or carry a certain dress code that is really nothing to do with the real who they are and what they are. It's just a small point. There is a Shara Gilgulim. It's a book that's written by Reb Chaim Vital, who was the student of the Arizal. So in the Hagdama Lamed Vav, in chapter 36, he described the huge difference in the perception between the way we see things and the way that the world above. Anyway, Asher Tasim Amar Rabbi Yirmiyah Vitem Rabbi Chia Barabba Elu Klei HaDayanim. That means in those days they used to have stick and all the other things that the judges used to as a portable item to express the verdict. Rav Huna ki Ava Nafik Ledina Amar Hachi Apiku Limana Chanutai Makel Rutzah V'Shofar V'Sandala. All these utensils, shofar, all the sandal for the chalitza, etc. והצווה את שופטיכם בעת הים, רבי יוחנן כגנב מקל ורצועה תהא זריז, which means again, all of this apply to all these different things that they have, the rod, the strap. שמעו ונכחם ושפטתם, אמר רבי חנינא, אזהרה לבית דין שלא ישמע דברי בעל דין קודם שיבוא בעל דין חברו. This is a warning for the court not to hear one side before the hearing the other side, which is very true by us. You hear sometimes a statement, Lashon Hara and other things, and you always, if you want to be really fair to the subject, you always have to hear both sides. והאזהרה לבעל דין שלא יתאים דבריו לדיינים קודם שיבוא בעל דין לחברו. He's saying the other way around. You should not talk to the judge or try to convince him before the other party is present. בעינם משמע בין אחיכם. רב כהנא אמר מאחה מלא תישא לא תשיא, because the Torah uses two terms. One, you should not bear a false report. Well, this matter of verb could seem to be addressed to the judges, commanding not to lend credence to a false report is also apply. You shall not deliver a false report, which means that the litigant and the witnesses should not do it with other party. ושפרתם צדק, אמר ריש לקיש, צדק את הדין ואחר כך תחותכהו. So the idea of be a very deliberate judge in righteously. So Rish Lakish said, verify the judgment, and only afterward implemented it. So the pasuk continue, ben isha ben achiv uven geroa Rabbi Yehuda afilu ben bait la'aliyah. Even you have inheritance between two brothers, and they come before you to divide the inheritance. You should not say, you should take the up floor, you take the bottom floor. Because what's the big deal? Each of you have a separate unit. You have to make a real appraisal, real assessment, and do it in the most fairest, correct way. So that's called justice within the justice. Uben geroa Rabbi Yehuda avilu ben tanur lekiraim. When they said a stranger with the gero, the word gero resembles the word dwell, gur. So he said that the word teaches us that the judge must distinguish between the merits of an oven and a stove, which means they have to be very carefully weigh. It's a good example how to deliver even these domestic items in a case of inheritance to ensure that the distribution of property is absolutely fair and equitable. לא תכירו בנים במשפט. You shall not show any respect to people in judgment, which is you don't show partiality by any means. רב יהודה אומר לא תכירהו, which means don't show partiality because he's your friend. Rabbi Elazar אומר לא תנקרהו, לא תנקרהו the other way around. You should not estrange him, which means that you prejudice him is liable. ושפי זכני דרב דרב עתה לקמא לדינא, אמר לו לאו ושפי זנית, you're not my host. So he said to him, אמר לו אין, אמר לה דינה איתלי, I have some court case and I want dispute and I want you to be the judge. אמר לה, so Rav said to him, I cannot do that. Page 8, פסליל נא לך לדינה. So basically I make you disqualified to be part of this court system, since in a way Rashi explains the moment that you mention something in the past like a favor, that already creates an atmosphere of partiality or favoritism. Tosfot said even you go by the letter of the law, it's not make it disqualified, but he went extraordinary. It's called in rabbinics writing לפנים משורת הדין. אמר רב לרב כהנא פוק דייני. So he said to him, go and be the one who judge it. The חזי דאבה כגייס בה. So it means that he noticed that he's kind of haughty toward him, because he have a special relationship with her. אמר לי, אי תת צייתת, והיא לא מפיק נחלך רב מאונח. So obviously it's a euphemism, but he said, if you listen and you obeyed, fine, meaning my ruling, my instructions, but if you're not, I'll take Rav out of your ears, which means I'll be very harsh and strong with you, and you'll understand the relationship with Rav will not help you. Kakadon gadol tishmeun, one of the instructions in Deuteronomy chapter 1, you shall hear the small and the great alike. It's fascinating because it's this week date and Torah portion. אמר יש לקיש שיהיה חביב עליך דין של פרוטה כדין של מאמנה. That's crucial, that you should not show partiality if it's a big case, small case, even if it's a small claim or it's a huge, you should treat it the same way. If it's the idea of go deeply and study and understand and then make the decision properly and justly, pshita, that's obvious. Ela le'akdumei, meaning that which one take precedent. So the idea is you should not show partiality or make precedence of a case, heavy case with many, with a lot of money, versus whoever come first, and you go by the fair way to all. לא תגורו מפני איש. You shall not be afraid of any person, any man. אמר רבי חנן, אל תכניס דבריך מפני איש. Do not intimidate by any person that comes in, and you may afraid because he's influential in community, because he's a politician, because he have a lot of money, or whatever it is. כי המשפט לאלוהים הוא, because the judgment it's by the Almighty God. אמר רבי חמא ברבי חנינא, אמר הקדוש ברוך הוא לא דיין לרשעים שנוטלים מזה ממון ונותנים לזה שלא כדין. It's not enough for the wicked that they take unjustly money from one person, give it to the other, אלא שמטריחין אותי להחזיק ממון לבעליו. In a way, God said that you impose upon me, trouble me to return the money to the rightful owner. So the Arizal and his student Reb Chaim Vital in a book called Shara Gilgulim brought in a special 2 chapters. It's called Akdama Lamedvav, and the other one 32. He goes at length to explain that in a way there's a transmigration of souls that need to rectify previous life for not. So in a way, it's like forcing God to go extraordinary and change the whole structure because of a wrong verdict, wrong judgment. והדבר אשר יקשה מכם אמר רבי חנינא וייתם רבי יושע, על דבר זה נענש משה, שנאמר ויקרב משה את משפטם לפני השם. This is exactly what we read last week, Torah portion, that the 5 daughters of Tzlofchad brought the question in regards to the late father's estate in the book of Bamidbar chapter 27. So Moses did not have the privilege to have this law of inheritance in his present, and he didn't know what to answer, and therefore it turns that I need to bring it before God. מתקיף לרב נחמן בר יצחק מכתיב השמיעכם ושמעתיו כתיב. He said, if you look carefully at the text, so it doesn't say and I will tell you. It says I'll hear it. So what does that mean? Thank you. So they said גמירנה גמרינה ולא אזלינה וגמירנה. So in other words, if I learn these rules, this halacha, fine. Otherwise, it's from God. So the idea is, you see here, the Mfarshim said that there is no presumptuousness in the Moshe Rabbeinu's statement. אלא כדתניא, ראויה פרשת אחריות שכתב על משה רבנו שזכו בנות צלופחד ונכתב לדם. The portion of inheritance should be written by the biblical Moses, but the daughter of Tzlofchad achieved merit as a result of their initiative in pursuing a portion in Eretz Israel. The same, ראויה הייתה פרשת מקושש שכתב על ידי משה רבנו, the whole portion of the person who was basically gathered the wood gatherer that was in a violation of Shabbat, so Moses will write it, but Ela Shentchev Mekoshesh Nichteva Ledo. The one who wood gatherer is basically found guilty, so halacha was attributed to him. That's a well-known statement that when it's come to the guilt was engendered by means of the guilty and married by means of innocent. כתיב ואצווה את שבתכם בעת ההיא וכתיב ואצווה אתכם בעת ההיא. אמר רבי אלעזר אמר רבי סמלי אזהרה לציבור שתהיה דמה דיין עליהם. This is a warning in a community that the awe of the judge should be upon them. ואזהרה לדיין שיסבול את הציבור. So also the other way around is warning the judge that he should be tolerate and take the burden of the community. עד כמה? Up to what? אמר רבי חנן ויתם רבי שבתאי כאשר יסר מן היונק. The same words about the eagle. The Torah said in the book of Numbers chapter 11 that the Almighty carried the nation of Israel as a nursing father carries the sucking child. כתיב כי אתה תבוא וכתיב כי אתה תביא. אמר רבי יוחנן אמר משה ליהושע אתה והזקנים שבדור עמהם, meaning you and the elder of generation will enter to the Eretz Israel together with the people, which is the elder will assist you in the leadership. אמר לו הקדוש ברוך הוא תול מקל והחל קודקודם. דבר אחד לדור ואין שני דברים לדור. It's like in a way take a stick and hit them on the skull, because it's a leader of the generation and not two or more leaders of the generation. One of the curses, it's a famous midrash that one curse the people is that they have many heads. So one, Tana zimun b'shlosha mai zimun. Zimun meaning that people ate together, so they need to make bracha ilem abirkat zimun v'atan zimun v'kadam zon b'shlosha. We already learned that when it's come to zimun and blessing after grace after meal, needs to have the decorum of three in order to do the Elokai nevarech, this famous declaration. v'chitem aparoshek המפרש mai zimun birkat zimun. v'atan zimun b'shlosha birkat zimun b'shlosha ela mai zimun as monei ledin. Here they derive it something else, that it applies to invitation to go to court. כי אדם הרבה הנה בהתלת הדיינים לדיית ואז לשליחה לבדינה ואמר מפום על אחד לא אמר כלום. If 3 judges reside and the agent of the court went and says something on behalf of one of them, so the summon is insufficient. לא אמר כלום עד אמר משמי דחולו הנמלה, as you need to be the agent to represent the whole 3. הנה מילה בלא יום הדדינה, אבל ביום הדדינה להתלבא, but if the day that the judgment, when it is understood that the summons in the name of only one judge actually indicates a summons from all the court, so then it's fine, it's not a problem. Tashlumei kefel. So the case involved in double portion of the principle must be go by the court of 3 judges. When the Mishnah shalach לרב נחמן בר רב חיסדא לרב נחמן בר יעקב ילמדנו רבנו דיני קנסות בכמה. The law finds by how many judges must such case be convened by the court. מהי כמבא אלה? הענן תנן בשלושה אלה, היחיד מומחה כמבא אלה. Single expert judge, דנין דיני קנסות עולה. May who involving with the law finds by himself or not. אמר לתנתו, תשלומי קבע ותשלומי 4 ו5 בשלושה. מהי שלושה אלה, מה שלושה ידיעותו, ואמר רבוע, דאבוך משמי דרב אפילו 10, ואין ידיעותות פסולים לדיני קנסות, אלא מומחין וכאמר שלושה. So there were expert judges, and he said that there are 3 necessary, so therefore a single expert judge may not get together this type of case. וחומרים מוציא שם רב ב-23, and one who defame character needs to have, since it's a capital punishment, need to have 23 judges. וכי יש בו דיני נפשות, מה הווי? Is the capital or what is it? As long as this particular case is no such a potential, why the sages require 23 judges to convene in a court? אמרו לו בחוששים לעז כמפלגה. This is in the concern that it will be a rumors, and rumors, and people talk. So the husband raised the claim that the wife committed adultery and all these potential problems. So that's what Rab Meir Sabar. And Choshim Lezal, Chamurim Choshim Lezal. Rab Meir said that you should not be concerned about rumors. The sages said yes, that one does need to be concerned with the possibility of rumors. Rab Amar Kule Alun Allah Az Lo Chayshinan. Ve'achba Choshim Kvedash Yerushalayim Kol Miflege. Everyone, do not worry about the reputation, but here they talk about the dealing with the early והחמא הסכם גון דכניב ב-20 ותלתה למדן דיני נפשות. We have a court of 23 judges will convene to judge a case of capital law because the husband accused his wife of committing adultery. Ve'ibadu, and there was no witness to the adultery, and the court 23's daughter was disbanded. And then the husband said to them, so at least you should judge the aspect of monetary law to reduce the sum of in her marriage contract to the amount of not betula, non-virgin. So it becomes strictly a case of monetary law. So now with law you need 3, you don't need 23. So the Rabbi hold that the court of 23 judges must be reconvened out of concern for the honor, since they already began to hear the case and there's 23 judges involved. So that's the way it should continue. Rabbi Meir disagree. He does not view as this is affront of the honor of the judges. It's just a circumstance change, and therefore it should not be a special, separate court case for the entire 23. 3 is sufficient according to him.